everyone. I hope you are doing well. Myself, Dr. Richa Goswami. Here I'm presenting a topic temporomandibular joint assessments. These are contents. Let's start with a small introduction of TM joint. As it is a ganglionoarthrodial joint, along with the teeth, this joint are considered to be tri-joint complex. The TM joint is classified as a synovial joint, although no hyaline cartilage covers the articular surfaces. It is covered with a dense avascular collagenous tissue that contains some cartilaginous cells. The covering often referred to as a fibrocartilage. It is significant because fibrocartilage can repair and remodel itself. So typically it is present in areas that have to withstand repeated high level stresses. Here in picture you can see that a disc located within each TM joint that separates the articulation into distinct superior and inferior joint with slightly different functions. Movement occurs in upper cavity of joints. There are gliding, translation and sliding, while movement occur in lower cavity of joints are rotation and hinge movement. Multiple bones merge to form the structure and contribute to the function of the TM joints. And together, these joints perform tasks such as chewing, eating, talking, yawning, etc. TM joints are two of the most frequently used joints in the body, but they probably receive the least amount of attention. Here in picture, you can see the arthrokinematics of opening the mouth. It's divided in two phases, early phase and late phase. So for early mouth opening, the mandibular condyle rotates and disc shifts to the middle and the posterior side, and movement of the disc is controlled by the collaterals and the superior lateral pterygoid muscle. Here in first picture you can see the superior lateral pterygoid muscle is attached to the anterior part of the disc. Then after the disc sits on the mandibular condyle. For the late phase of mouth opening, the anterior translation of the mandible takes place. Okay, so here for the complete mouth opening, proper movement of the disc and the mandible is needed. If any abnormality in muscular balance or a disc, sometimes disc stucks, so it's not allowed the proper mouth opening, and the patient who have TM joint dysfunction complaining of clicking, cranking sound or sometimes crepitus or clicking may be associated with pain also. So this point should be considered. There are three cardinal features of the TM joint dysfunction: orofacial pain, restricted jaw motion and joint noise during movement. Let's start with the assessment. Patient profile and demographic details, it's important. Then start with the history taking. Present, past and personal history should be asked to patient. Ask about the dental history because most of the time the dental problems may lead to the TM joint dysfunction. So it is important to do not miss dental history of patient. Ask about missing tooth, abnormal tooth eruption, malocclusion, dental caries or decay. Example, if patient having a pain in the left side of molar, lower molar, okay. So patient is habituated to chewing the right side. Now after pain is not there, still patient is chewing to the right side only. Why? Because it's habituated to that type of chewing pattern, and this pattern may lead to the TM joint dysfunction. So it is important to rule out this point. Ask about the pain or restriction of mouth movement is there or not. Disc displacement, tissue tightness like a capsular tightness or a muscle spasm or the sometimes muscle hypertrophy or the overactive muscles may lead to the limited mouth opening. So we have to rule out this point for a proper assessment and management. Pain with mouth opening is there, so which position lead to this pain? Like ask about is there pain with the full open position of mouth? Like when you are taking a large bite on apple, if pain is occurred or or increases, then it indicates the pathology is extra-articular. If biting a firm object like eating nuts causing a pain, it's indicative of the intra-articular pathology. And if chewing is painful for the patient, then observe the vertical dimension and also check for the chewing pattern of patient. Okay, one important point is restriction may lead to anxiety because it affects the everyday activities like talking, eating. Okay, so in this type of case, means the patient who have TM joint dysfunction, we have to take care of psychological factor, and it is important to assess that factor also, because evidence says that TM joint dysfunction always have a central point, central component of the pain. So do not forget to take a psychological assessment in these patients. These are the pain assessment points. You can ask about the site, onset, characteristic or the type of the pain, whether it is radiates or the referred, because most of the time TM joint referred or radiates to the as a headache and the neck pain. Ask about the associated symptoms. If morning stiffness is associated with pain, it is indicative of OA of TM joint. Also ask about the time or the duration, like for how much time it's persist. Then ask about exacerbating or the causing factor. If patient is complaining of occurrence of TM joint after chewing or the talking, it is indicative of any problem or the dysfunction present in the soft tissue of the temporomandibular joint. Then also ask about, is there any decreasing or the relieving factor? Then to check a severity and intensity, we can use any scale or the measurement. Here we all know this, the new pain model is biopsychosocial model, which is helpful to measure or to understanding the pain, and we can also measure the pain by using the scales or the measurement which involve or include the psychological factor, social factor also. So it is my advice that in TM joint dysfunction assessment, we have to take care of these biopsychosocial factors, not only the physical factor or only pain severity. Then check for, does the patient breathe through the nose or a mouth? Then causes may be sinus problem, adenoids, tonsils and upper respiratory problems, head and neck muscular imbalance, postural deviation or deformity. Here in the picture, they're showing how the forward head posture lead to the muscular imbalance and how it will affect the temporomandibular joint function. Like it increases the stress and that will lead to the TM joint dysfunctions. So it is important to rule out these factors. Weakness of tongue muscle and or buccinator or orbicularis oris muscle. It is important because tongue muscles maintain the intraoral pressure which is equal to or the compensate by the buccinator and orbicularis oris muscle, which maintain extraauricular pressure. So if any abnormality between this two pressure may lead to the altered chewing pattern or the increase the stress in TM joint also, and our mouth contour will also may also alter because of this alteration in muscular balance. If the patient complain of crepitus or clicking, then we have to assess further for it. Like the clicking may be because of a tear, perforation in the disc, osteoarthrosis, occlusal imbalance or uncoordination action of the lateral pterygoid muscle. Normally, the upper head of lateral pterygoid muscle pulls the disc forward. Okay, if the disc does not move first, means first phase of mouth opening is not occurred, but the disc is stuck now and it's not move for the further mouth opening. So the condyle clicks over the disc as it is pulls forward by the lower head of the lateral pterygoid muscle. So here the clicking sound will heard. There are many types of click, like if the soft or the popping type of click is present, it most of the time caused by the ligament movements or articular separation. It is present in normal joint because of the muscular incoordination. If clicks is hard or cranking type, it indicative of joint pathology or joint surface defect. Also ask for early clicking or the late clicking to differentiate whether the dysfunction or problem is developing or the chronic. Click may be single click, means during mouth opening or the closing only one click will heard, or sometimes reciprocal click, or if the partial displacement or dislocation of the disc, condyle must override the disc to reach a normal position. Here a displacement and reduction takes place. So it's called a disc displacement with reduction. Here also you can heard the two clicks, means reciprocal click. Now if clicking is because of a present adhesion in the TM joint or surrounds the TM joint, the click will heard. It's most of the time called adhesive click. Now what happened when there is a patient habit of clenching teeth. After this episode, patient will not able to open the mouth suddenly. So mouth will open with one click. Why? Because of presence of adhesion, its click heard. Okay, the click is heard. So it's called the adhesive click. Now ask about the mouth or jaw locking history. Locking means the mouth does not fully open or it does not fully close. It's often related to problem of the disc or the joint degeneration. Most of the time, there are two type of jaw lock, like closed lock and open lock. When the disc is displaced anterior and or medially, okay, without disc reduction, then mouth opening will is limited, means less than 25 or 35 mm, and it's also considered as a trismus. Here, the mandible deviates toward affected side, and later movement of the uninvolved side is reduced. Means mouth opening is reduced and limited to this less than 25 mm. Now, if jaw locked in open position, sometimes subluxation of the joint or disc posterior displacement takes place. Here, 2 clicks on opening and 2 clicks on closing is heard. Here, dislocation is reduced by itself while second movement. So it's called reciprocal click and disc displacement with reduction, which we already discussed. But if condyle dislocates outside the fossa, okay, the patient cannot close the mouth and dislocation must be reduced. So it's called a true dislocation with open lock. Here the mouth is remain in open position only. Also ask about the personal history and habits like smoking pipe, using cigarette holder, leaning on chin, chewing gum habits, biting the nails, chewing hair, pursing or chewing lips, continuously moving mouth, or any other nervous habit. Also differentiate with the bruxism. Okay, in patient who have habit of bruxism, most of the time have clench their teeth during night. So in early morning, they felt the pain at TM joint and hypertrophy or the facial muscles are also present, and sometimes it's present as a headache. Okay. Also ask and check for the psychological problem. As I already mentioned, the relation between the psychological factor and TM joint dysfunction is very well defined. So do not forget this point of psychological problem. Ask about anxiety, depression, or major life event, etc. Also ask about swallowing difficulties, cranial nerve dysfunction, especially facial nerve and the trigeminal nerve. Any ear problem is there or not, habitual head posture, or maybe any occupational posture. Then ask about voice changes or present of headache or not. Okay, now start with observation and measurement. Here, do not forget to observation of head and neck posture. Okay, check for the facial symmetry without smile and with smile. Now check for the facial dimension, vertical dimension and horizontal dimension. Here, two methods are given to measure the vertical dimension of the face. In first one, you can use a photograph of patient and draw this 4 line, and distance between each 2 line should be 1/3 of total. And in quick measure, which you can use in clinical setup, measure the distance from lateral edge of eye to the corner of mouth, as you can see in picture, and distance from nose to chin. If second measurement is smaller than the first by 1 mm or more, there has been loss of vertical dimension, which may result from loss of teeth, overbite, or TM joint dysfunction. Also check for any present of paralysis, means any central level problem, then ptosis, Bell's, or the facial palsy, because this all are also give some similar type of alteration, facial asymmetry. So we have to check for this also. Then check for the horizontal dimension. Here you have to draw 3 lines on patient's face photograph, and these 3 lines should be parallel. If any alteration is there, you can say there is the asymmetry in horizontal dimension of face. Then check for the facial profile. For that, you have to take a side view photograph of patient face and draw a bipupillary line and vertical line which is perpendicular to it. And if this vertical line will touch the upper lip, lower lip and the chin, then it's called a straight jaw line type of facial profile, and it's normal, called the orthognathic type of facial profile. If chin is posterior to this vertical line, it is considered as a retrognathic type of facial profile, and if chin is forward to this vertical line, then it's termed as a prognathic type of facial profile. First type of facial profile is considered as a normal, while second and third is considered to be not actually abnormal, but can lead to the TM joint dysfunction. Check for the teeth alignment observed during centric occlusion. Centric occlusion means take your teeth together, means just showing your teeth, not like clinching your teeth. Okay, then check for the cross bite, underbite, overbite. In normally the overbite is present. Why? Because the maxillary arch is slightly longer than the mandibular arch. Okay, so 2 to 3 mm of overbite is considered as a normal and present in most of all of us. Also check for the occlusal interference or the malocclusion. Check for the tongue movement. Ask for the clicking sound by the tongue, like, and also check for the tongue thrusting. If the head protruded, it is fine, easy to thrust by the tongue thruster. So to taste it, head posture should be corrected and asked to swallow. So here the test is how to take a test is given. You can check that whether the patient is tongue thruster or not. Let's start with the examination. First of all, active range of movement of neck is should be examined or the measure. In a patient who have TM joint dysfunction, importantly we have to check whether the patient is doing a full neck active range of motion, flexion, extension with mouth closed or not, or doing flexion or extension, patient allow the mouth opening. So it is important. Then ask or the examine about the side flexion and rotation of the neck. If necessary, also examine the combined repetitive and sustained movement of active range of neck. Then check for TM joint movements. It can be measured with the millimeter ruler, depth gauge or the vernier calipers. Check for opening, closing and protrusion of mouth and lateral deviation of mandible. Opening and closing of the mouth done slowly, so you can check whether there is deviation or any malocclusion is there or not. Normally the jaw movement is smooth and unbroken, so with slow movement you can also observe is there a presence of any jerky movement or not. To check a first phase of opening, here while maintaining the tongue against the hard palate of the mouth, open the mouth as widely as possible. And to check for the second phase of mouth opening, ask the patient to open the mouth as widely as possible. Patient having TM joint dysfunction most of the time having a problem with the second phase of opening. Okay, then check for the mandibular opening, whether it is in straight line or any deflection or deviation is present or not, and find out the cause, because it is maybe caused by the muscle spasm, capsulitis, tight capsule, hypomobility, disc displacement or muscular imbalance. Okay, so by the complete assessment you can make it out that which is the cause may lead to the mandibular opening, deflection or deviation. If no other sign or symptoms accompany, it's considered inconsequential. Means if patient having TM joint dysfunction or the under assessment of TM joint dysfunction, if has no other findings like pain, crepitus or clicking and only the deflection or deviation of mandible, it considered as inconsequential. So it is important to mandibular deflection or deviation that must have some other sign and symptoms like pain, crepitus related to TM joint. Now check for the mouth opening. Normally it is 35 to 55 mm. If it is less than 35 mm, it's TM joint considered as a hypomobile joint. Here in picture you can see how with the using of ruler we can check a mouth opening. Okay, central occlusive line we can use or the considered to measure a mouth opening. Then in the clinical setup we can use functional mouth opening via using knuckle test. If patient is able to put two knuckles between teeth, it's called as a functional opening. If three knuckle patient is able to put 3 knuckles in mouth, then it's called as a normal mouth opening. For normal movement measurement, here for protrusion, retrusion and lateral deviation is given. So you can measure and compare with this. You can measure in your patient and compare with these measurements. Also check for mandibular measurement whether is there any developmental problem with mandible or not. So check for that also and compare bilaterally. Then check for the passive range of motion. Most of the time patient having TM joint dysfunction not able to complete active range of motion, and sometimes it's painful while doing active range of motion. So it is very seldom that passive range of motion is carried out except when it is attempting to determine the end feel of the joints. Okay, so normal end feels are opening is tissue stretch and closing is bone to bone because of the teeth contact. Resisted isometric movements, it's relatively difficult for the TM joint to test the resisted isometric movement, and to check this we have to maintain the resistance at least for the 5 seconds and check for the depression, elevation and lateral deviation of a mandible. Here in the picture the method and hand placement is given. Also check for the functional assessment, like asking the patient for chewing, coughing, blowing, etc. And we can also use a functional assessment scale or some questionnaire. Check for TM joint auscultation, especially during movement. Normally a single solid sound heard only on occlusion. Sleeping sound could occur if the teeth are not hitting simultaneously. Okay, and here the clicking sign may heard, which we already discussed. The type of clicking may be reciprocal or a single click. Here we have to check whether the single click is during opening or the closing, and at which time the click is heard. Like the later the opening click is heard, the more the disc is displaced anteriorly and more likely is to lock. So we can know the severity of the displacement. Closing click usually caused by the loosening of this structure attaching to the disc to the condyle. So we can check the check that whether the TM joint is hypomobile or not. So we have to avoid mobilization in this type of TM joint problem. Clicking is more likely to occur in hypermobile joint. If during auscultation crepitus heard, then it's indicative of the degenerative joint disease and perforation in disc. If it is associated with the pain, that is indicative of erosed disc, joint surface rubbing together or lost much of fibrocartilage. So painful crepituses occur when there is problem is more chronic or the severe. Each movement should be done 4 or 5 times to assure a correct diagnosis. For further assessment, like to differentiate with other cause of TM joint dysfunction, like if the patient having complaint of pain at the TM joint site, it is primarily by TM joint, or is there any other cause like any neural problem is there or not. So this further assessment points are important to differentiate the TM joint dysfunction. Check for the reflexes, especially the jaw reflex. Then check for the cutaneous distribution of C1, C2 and C3 sites. Then check for the sites or the pain pattern of the TM joint and the muscles which are attached or the related to the temporomandibular joint, and also check the sites of their referred pain. Also check for the joint play movement of TM joint. Here in picture you can say how the head placement and in which direction we have to move the mandible, and check anterior, posterior, middle and the lateral glide of mandible. Then palpation. For palpation we have to check bony prominence, muscle mass and the movement of muscle or the muscle bulge. Normally when there is bite down, masseter muscle bulges. So you can compare bilateral also. Okay, and sometimes like patient habit of bruxism may present with the hypertrophy of the muscle. So by using or by doing palpation, you can check the bony prominence and soft tissue contour. For movement or to palpate the mandibular condyle, there are 2 type of palpations. Like you can use external auditory meatus palpation, or sometimes doing outside of ear you can also palpate, but it is most commonly used pattern that you can insert your index finger in the external auditory meatus of patient and just give some pressure anterior side. Here you can palpate the lateral condyle of mandible and you can palpate it, and with jaw movement you can also palpate or know the direction of movement of that mandibular condyle and compare to the both side also. For further investigation, you can ask the patient for go for the some diagnostic image also, like X-ray and MRI. And if patient already had completed this already have having this X-ray and MRI findings, you can check out or the compare with your provisional diagnosis. So by checking of your provisional diagnosis and the medical diagnosis, you can know the proper assessment for the patient and which lead to a correct direction of management. One important point, the examiner must remember that many problems of TM joint may be the result of or related to the problems in cervical spine or teeth and the psychological problems. Therefore, the cervical spine assessment should include the TM joint assessment, as well as we have to take a measurement, or we have to include the assessment of the psychological as well as the social factor of the patient for a proper assessment. So I hope this presentation will help you in whenever you are assess the patient with TM joint dysfunction. Thank you. Thank you.